Hello everyone, I'm CrypticFox, and today we're looking at how to build a fully plumbed bathroom and oxygen not included that doesn't use a lot of water. One of the earliest requirements your duplicants will have at the start of the game is a place that they can go to the bathroom. They generally need it within the first cycle or so after they arrive in the asteroid, and it's something you're going to have to get started on pretty much right away. There is a supply of oxygen through Oxalite, and you have food, but there isn't a place to go to the bathroom right off the bat, so that's something you're going to dig into almost as soon as you start the game. If you don't give your duplicants bathroom facilities, the inevitable accident is going to happen, and that's kind of a pain to have to clean up on top of spreading germs everywhere, like potentially into your water supply. You'll start the game with access to the outhouse and the wash basin, and that'll be your earliest bathroom. It'll do for the first little while for the duplicants to use the facilities. But ultimately, you'll want to upgrade once you've unlocked the research to the full plumbed washroom that will save your duplicants time. As the duplicants use it and clean it out, the outhouse will produce polluted dirt, but the biggest challenge here is that the duplicants have to go and clean it, and that takes up duplicate time. And as you can see by their expression, none of them are really super happy about cleaning the toilets. If you enclose your outhouse and wash basin in a room with a door, the door can even be open, it doesn't necessarily need to be closed, but if you enclose it inside of a room, and you have no more than 64 tiles inside of that space, then this will become a latrine, which gives your duplicates a small morale boost of +1, which is alright for early in the game, but again, later on, you want to get to the full plumbed washroom, which will give you a +2 morale bonus, as well as saving duplicate time. For the purpose of this tutorial, I'm going to be building everything in debug mode, so I can build it instantly and save a little bit of time, but everything I build here you can ultimately do in a regular game as well. Once you've unlocked the research for it, under your plumbing, you're going to have the lavatory, which is the replacement for the outhouse. This is something that certainly you're going to want to have in here, so let's put 3 of them in here for now. And then, of course, you also want to have the ability for your duplicates to wash their hands, so under medicine, you're going to grab the sink. Both of these use clean water, as opposed to having the duplicates supply them with dirt and empty a polluted dirt, empty a polluted water, carrying water back and forth. So because you can plumb it in, you're going to save a lot of time and effort from the duplicates running around and trying to drop things off or clean things out. They'll still run in to spray it to disinfect, but you can turn that off if you really wanted to. It doesn't really seem to be too much of an issue since they're going to wash their hands on the way out anyway, but that is an option. So we have our new facilities in place. In order to clean the water that comes out of these, we're also going to need to make use of something that's in the refinement tab, and that is the water sieve, which we're going to place in another space. Now, this cannot be in the same room as the lavatory and your sinks because it's a piece of machinery, and machinery would make this not qualify as a room. So now that we have these in place, we don't even actually have to have them plumbed, I think, and it becomes a washroom. That gives your duplicates a +2 morale bonus, but of course you do want them to be able to go to the washroom, so we're going to have to add in the plumbing. I generally like to use insulated piping in here just in case the water starts to get hot. I don't want to let any excess heat out into the room, but all of these building pieces are going to have an input and an output for the water flow. For the input pipe, we can just connect all those together in a quick chain, and then the same thing for the output pipe. My preference is to send these up through the ceiling. You don't necessarily have to. There's no requirement to have these things inside of walls or anything. I just like to tuck them away for aesthetics, and we connect all those around and together. So that is the basics of your plumbing. The input side of our plumbing for our washroom is going to be connected to the output side of our water sieve, so that as the water gets cleaned, it will send it back out into the loop. And then the dirty water we're going to send down, and we're going to connect it ultimately into the input side of our water sieve. This next step is really important. We want to use a liquid bridge in order to control the flow of the liquid. So the lavatory is going to consume 5 kilograms of clean water per use, and it's going to produce 11.7 kilograms of polluted water per use. Because there's that excess water creation coming out of the system, it will ultimately back up if you don't give it some sort of an overflow mechanism. It will work fine for a little while, but as that polluted water builds up, once there's no room in the pipes for any segment of water to make a move, it will back up, and then everything will stop running. So we want to have an overflow mechanism that will take care of that for us, and that's where the liquid bridge comes in play. The liquid bridge defines the movement of liquids, as well as allowing it to skip over top of things like other pipes. So any liquid that's flowing into this will have a preferred flow of going through the pipe. So the pipe that's connecting into the input here we'll prefer to have the water flow through this pipe and go out into the sieve, which is what we want because we want to maintain clean water in our system. If the water backs all the way up to the output of the liquid bridge, though, any liquid coming to this end of the pipe will take an alternate path because it can't flow through the pipe, and that's what we want. So we're going to take this for now, and we'll just send it out, and we're going to put this into a liquid reservoir. Now, this doesn't have to go to a liquid reservoir. You could send it to other places. Maybe you have some other building that wants to consume polluted water. Maybe you're going to send it to farm tiles or something of that nature. But for now, we'll assume we're just going to send this off to a liquid reservoir to store it. This will fill up, and then ultimately that will back up the system as well. So you definitely need something that's actually going to consume it, or just to dump it out into a pit somewhere so you can deal with it later. So all of our plumbing is now set up, but there's no water in the system. And of course, we also don't have any power either, so that's going to be something we're going to need. Connect up your water sieve to a power supply, and this whole system is now ready to run. They basically just need to supply this with a filtration medium that's generally going to be sand. And once they have that filled in, then you'll be ready to operate. Now, we do need some water in here as well, but this is going to be your general pipe layout. I set up a water pump over here on our water supply in order to send some clean water into our system. Now, it's going to pick up a little bit of water from here and send it through the pipe, and we'll feed it right into the plumbing for our washroom on this side of things. This does not need to be connected for very long. This pump is going to run for just a short little bit and move the water that we need in there. Once this water is all filled in here, we have working washroom facilities, and we no longer need to have the piping connected anymore. When we break this pipe here, it is going to release some of the clean water onto the floor, but our duplicates can clean that up, so it's not the worst thing in the world. Now that our washroom has completed plumbing, our duplicates can certainly use it to relieve themselves. The clean water will go into the bottom of the lavatory. The polluted water will come out of the top. That's ultimately going to cycle around and make its way down through the pipe bridge into the water sieve. The water sieve will clean the water and send it back into the system. Now, this water is still going to have germs in it, but that's okay. The water sieve will clean up a certain amount of it, but there will still be a certain amount of germs that are left in the pipe. Now, really early on, it should get most of it, but as this water gets dirtier going around, it's going to get a little germier. You won't need a lavatory for every single one of your duplicants. You can have more duplicants than you have lavatories. They will share the time utilizing them whenever they need it. If you set up a schedule, you can also separate them so they have bath time at different times of day, and that will help to allow you to minimize the amount of space you need in your washroom facility as well. With this system, when the water finally backs up and it can't go into the water sieve anymore, you're going to see it will take the alternate path, and that will send it off to wherever you've chosen to send your water to. Now, in this case, I'm just sending it to a liquid storage. This could just as easily be going to a liquid vent that dumps the polluted water into a pit if you want to clean it up that way. If you have already unlocked the research for the hydroponic farm tile, you could send it to the hydroponic farm tile. There are a couple of plants that are going to want to have polluted water. For example, the arbor acorn takes polluted water. It's going to consume 70 kilograms per cycle, so it would take a fair amount of water supply in order to supply that. The thimble reeds will also want to consume polluted water, so you could send it there, and that's certainly another option as well. It's important to note that this pipe bridge doesn't necessarily have to be on the polluted water side of things. If you have a greater use for clean water, and you want to use the excess water from the system to supply something that uses clean water, you can put the pipe bridge on this other side and it will accomplish the same task. You just might want to have a little bit more pipe space to store clean water so you don't deplete your system. But with this setup, we could just simply move the pipe bridge over to the clean water side, and then the clean water would flow out instead. And maybe you want to send that to something like an electrolyzer that you can use to produce oxygen. It's not going to be a consistent enough flow unless you have a lot of duplicants in order for it to actually supply that system on a regular basis, but it is a nice added perk for some clean air. Now, the water, if it has germs in it, you don't have to worry about making those airborne when you put them to the electrolyzer. There will be food poisoning germs in the air, but the duplicants don't get sick from those. They only get sick from surface germs when it comes to food poisoning, and airborne germs when it comes to slime lung. Duplicants do like to shower, so of course you can add in shower facilities to this bathroom as well. They don't have to be inside of this space in order for it to qualify for a bathroom. Now, if you only have a few duplicants, you could certainly put the showers inside of this bathroom space. I tend to take a lot of duplicants when I'm streaming, so generally I want as big of a bathroom facility as I can get, with as many lavatories and things for the duplicants to use as I can manage, so I tend not to do that. The only thing I want to be cautious of, if you want this morale bonus, you need to make sure that your space stays at no larger than 64 tiles. So, for example, in this system where I have 3 lavatories and 3 sinks, I would normally put a couple of decor items in here to make the decor a little bit nicer, but you could choose not to do that and instead cram in a shower. Since it doesn't have to be in the room, though, you can also just as easily put your shower somewhere else. So let's say we're going to take 3 showers for our duplicants so they can get clean, and we'll connect those into the same plumbing system. We just need to add a little branch to go off to the side, and of course I can't fit this in the floor there anymore, but we'll go like this. And then same thing, we're going to branch this around, and we'll just feed it right back into the polluted water system here. Now our duplicants will get clean when they decide they want to, and all the water will be cleaned using the same system. It doesn't matter that the water will have germs in it. It still gets them clean. and they don't come out with germs on them. So all the water will flow up and be accessible for the shower. Now this, again, is going to produce polluted water as it comes out, but for the shower, it will produce the same amount of polluted water as it consumes in fresh water, the same as the sinks do. Once your showers are ready, your duplicates will avail themselves of the opportunity to get clean. They'll do this during their bath time that you have scheduled for them in their schedule, or they can also do it on their downtime whenever they feel like they need to get clean. The water sieve is going to require sand to keep operating, and your duplicates have to spend time filling it. Later on, when you've unlocked enough of the research and you have the duplicates with the right skills, you can add in a little bit of automation here by using the option in the shipping for the auto sweeper. The auto sweeper will do two jobs for you. You can set it to take the sand and refill the sieve so that your duplicates don't have to spend their time on it. You do have to have duplicates that have the skill unlocked for it, so it's going to take a little while, and there's quite a bit of research to unlock before you get there as well. But once you have the auto sweeper in place, the duplicates will take the sand that's located in the storage container you can build next to it, and it will just automatically fill it. The duplicates will still have to fill the storage bin, unless you send some automation to send sand over there as well. But this will allow them to save time and not have to do that. This is going to produce polluted dirt, which is going to fall on the ground. The sweeper can also be set up to take that polluted dirt out of the way for you. You just set up a conveyor loader right next to it that's within range. With a conveyor rail on it. Let's say we're going to send this off to someplace where we have some poke shells or something maybe. And then we'll just throw a little conveyor chute on the end where you have your poke shells. Set this up to pick up polluted dirt. So that will grab that. This will need power as well. Now you have a simple little system that the only thing they have to do is keep some sand in this little storage bin and your plumbing will keep working. Now, an important thing to call out with this type of a washroom system is that it does require power. If the water's not being cleaned by the water sieve, no water is going to flow for you, and your duplicates are going to find themselves without a place to go to the bathroom, and you're probably going to find out the hard way when they start peeing all over the place. When you have like 20 duplicates in a colony, like I sometimes do, that makes an awful mess and takes a long time to clean up. I hope you find this tutorial useful and you can use it for setting up your own bathroom and you're calling it Oxygen Not Included. If you're interested in some more tutorials for Oxygen Not Included, you can find those linked in the playlist here. If you're interested in gameplay, I also stream the game fairly regularly where you can see us put some of these ideas into practice. I'm, as always, CrypticFox. I'll see all of you next time.